I was, like just randomly doing only online applications. I had never had a LinkedIn profile. So I had a lot of mistakes that I did over the last 12 months in my journey, which I felt like after getting a job, I found a lot of my friends, very close friends, struggling to land jobs. So we wanted to build a software that could work for anyone, and that turned out to be Unimad. Sharath Leela Krishnan here. I know, same long Indian name, and after UK it became Shaki. I came to the UK in 2021 of September, and I've had three phases in the UK. The first phase was the student phase. The second phase was the full-time employee phase, and the third phase, I think, is the entrepreneur phase.
So let's say I'm an international student. Within like 6 months, I will get into my placement year. What steps do you suggest me to do?
So I think you'll have to,
Most of the students like me, like we want to get a job. Not about focusing upon what are you going to provide value to. If respond job, high salary package, of course. Response. Tell me about value proposition.
so basically,
What are your funny stories in being an international
stories.
student?
Funny story, I think, like when my ex-boss Laundus, when he fired me from the job, he told me one thing. It's a funny quote, which is like there are three W's which are never constant when you're abroad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello guys, my name is Pavan Roy Sai Gopi. I know it's a long name, but that's how it is. Here we have another episode with Sharath Leela Krishnan, who is an international student turned founder. Today we're going to learn his journey. How did he come across this idea? And from that to the founder. Hi Sharath, for the viewers or for the audience, just give a quick intro about yourself.
Sure thing. Hi guys, Sharath Leela Krishnan here. I know, same long Indian name, and after UK it became Shaki. I came to the UK in 2021 of September, and I've had three phases in the UK. The first phase was the student phase. The second phase was the full-time employee phase, and the third phase, I think, is the entrepreneur phase. So I'm sure we'll be going deep into each of these phases in the show. Thank you for having me again.
I was actually scrolling through LinkedIn and just figuring out who should be my next guest. And somehow I just found about your page. And you also quoted that shouldn't chase opportunities should chase us. So that's the quote that I actually resonated with, and glad you accepted my request and came to the podcast.
Yeah, sure
So
thing. Like I think
let's
in
start
the
with
last 1 year, I've been just talking and going around with international students. So when you reached out to me, I was really happy to do this. Yeah, let's do this.
yeah. Okay, let's start. So I'll just go 2 years back. What was your first impression like landing in the UK? What was your dream?
So I used to work back in a company called Freshworks in India, and I used to work for the UK client shift, right? The UK client base. And I had a group of my colleagues working here, and they made way more than me, but they worked way less than me. So I felt like the same work in a different location is a different pay scale. I wanted to have a piece of it, and that's why I came to the UK to do my masters, right? So my goal from day one was to like get a job. Like that was my strategy. I never came here to study, always came here to earn a job in pounds. And I come from a very average background, so big money was the dream. If you're asking me about the dream.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of students have their own set of priorities while coming here. Like, for example, for someone says they want to have a better standard of living, they wanted to earn more pounds.
Mhm.
So that's the way. How did you struggle throughout your international journey?
Yeah.
What are your
So
struggles?
coming to that, I come from a very average middle class family. So for me, coming here itself was a struggle, right? And I had, like, as everyone had, like, proper financial struggles all around, right? I had like exactly 1 month of cash left when I landed in the UK, and I had to find something on my own, right? And from day one, I've been searching for part-time jobs. I didn't have any rest period. In the first 18th day, I got a job in Londis, and felt like life was going good, and, like, got a part-time job. Somehow I'll manage my expenses. But 30 days later, I got fired from that part-time job, and again I was back to square one. Then in 1 week I got a job in KFC. I used to stay in KFC doing everything, and like and also handling the full-time job search, because from day one it was job search for me. Like I've been searching job exactly for 365 days, and at the end of my university I landed a job, right? So I didn't wait for full-time job search. I've been applying from beginning, right? So handling all of this and coming through on the other side, that taught me something.
So every international student faced through that
Yes.
what the journey. So you just applying for the jobs and you got rejections.
Yeah.
What is that turning point? Okay, I want to start a company, because most of the mindset of like me is like I have to find a job.
Hmm.
For that, I'll just apply it and I'll get rejection. Okay, then a PSW period comes. Meanwhile, just do some kind of works, and that's how the process goes. And if I didn't get, I'll just go back to my country. What was your turning point? Like I need to help other students and build a brand about it, or help other international students like me. So what was your turning point?
Yeah, the thing is, like, when I was doing my masters, right, I never cared about anything like other than the job. So everyone thought I was a little crazy for, like just looking at job from day one, because the university is there. Only at the end of the university we can do full-time jobs. But I still did that, and I did a lot of mistakes in that journey. Like I did all, like I was applying on Easy Apply for 2 months, wasting my time. I was, like just randomly doing only online applications. I had never had a LinkedIn profile. So I had a lot of mistakes that I did over the last 12 months in my journey, which I felt like after getting a job, I found a lot of my friends, very close friends, struggling to land jobs. So I felt like building a brand was never the motive, right? Like never thought there was going to be a business out of it. I just started helping my friends, right? Close friends who were struggling. And after giving them all the things that worked out for me, like having a LinkedIn presence, having an online game, like personal branding, and applying through cold emails, value proposition document, we'll talk about all of this. But yeah, when we gave this to everyone, they were starting to get interviews, and few also landed jobs. So me and one of my co-founder right now, we both went to University of Sheffield, and we gave a webinar to everyone there who are looking for a job. We thought five or six people would turn up, but 21 people turned up, and everybody loved the webinar, right? So when we gave that webinar, I realized that international students in general, they don't lack skills, or they don't lack knowledge, or they don't lack talent. It's just that they lack the right method of execution. There are around 100,000 students who do masters here. So if you're doing the same things that everyone else is doing, you are going to get left behind. So you need to do different
Yeah,
things. You need to stand out completely. And we felt like the actual problem is students don't understand that this is the problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Like they think like
yeah,
they're applying and they're getting rejected and all that stuff. But the actual problem is they're not having a profile. So what we decided to do multiple university tours. We went to Belfast, we went to Edinburgh, we went to Glasgow, Aberdeen, Dundee, we went to Manchester, and then Sheffield again, 7 8 universities. And we concluded that this is a problem, everyone is facing this, right? Because back home we have like a structured way to job search, wherein like we have a placement cell. They come in, and you give your interviews and you get your job. But here it's not like that. You're on your own. So you need to build your
yeah,
brand, you need to stand out, you need to tell your story in a way that sells. We can't scale this idea and take it to like thousands and thousands of students doing it one university at a time. So we wanted to build a software that could work for anyone, and that turned out to be Unimad, right? We built the beta version, and in the beta version we were able to have like 500 users, out of which 200 plus actively used Unimad, and 40 students got jobs, and 120 plus students landed interviews through the framework. And now we're building the main
that's
version.
great.
So that is the story, right? So it was never started
Okay.
out to be a brand. It started out as something to help the close ones, and then we figured out that this is a very big problem. We might as well give solution to everyone, and it's just going on.
Yeah, that's great. So, so after after going through your LinkedIn page, I just wanted to check your product. And the thing is, like 2 months back or 3 months back, I was just thinking like if there is any product that could give my resume automatically. Like, the boring task is that we have to go to docs and we have to do everything step by step and fill out all those.
Exactly. Exactly.
The product you're given is, first of all, I would say, from my perspective, is really good, really good. I mean, you have sections like you're providing LinkedIn optimization, you're providing ideas for how to generate a content as well. That's really great. After visiting your product, I thought like that's really great because I was actually thinking like I have to do a project similar to that kind. So let's say I'm an international student. Within like 6 months, I will get into my placement year. So what steps do you suggest me to do?
So I think you'll have to build. First thing is you need to know what, right? A lot of students don't have their niche sorted out. The first thing you need to do is you need to understand what do you want, like where do you want to get in, like which role do you want to get in. A lot of people don't understand their niche. They try to apply to every role out there, thinking they'll land one. But that's exactly what's keeping them jobless, right? So the point I would say to anyone is understand what you want. The first 4 to 5 months you should use to like work on what, and then once you understood your niche, all you need to do is build a profile around your niche. Like you need to build a resume for it, you need to optimize your LinkedIn towards it, you need to work on posting content that gives you thought leadership in that space, you need to connect with as many people as possible, and you need to build a solid portfolio. Basically, like it's just that you need to be very proactive, and you need to know a lot of people, connect with people in your domain, and give proof of works, give them like a reason to hire you. Like you build your profile around it, and yeah, you just have to do the right things, tell your story in the right way, because even if you have a very good profile, like very good what to say, you are skilled, but if you cannot put it out in a way that sells, it's not going to work anyways, right? So
Yes.
you need to be able to tell your story, and you have to put it out there, you have to be out there, right? Doing all the things, experimenting all the things, and one will work, right? That's what I always say, like 1,000 rejections doesn't matter, one offer will change it all.
So okay, I have my LinkedIn. I've done my profile. So as you talked about the frameworks, can you just walk me through about the framework?
Yes, first thing. So when you go into Unimad, this is the Unimad's framework, right? So basically, whatever a career strategist can do, Unibot can do, right? Unibot is the your personal career strategist of Unimad, right? So what it will do is it'll ask for your skills. Basically, it will suggest your skills. You put all your skills, hard skills, and then education, then your experiences, then your projects, based on which it will suggest you roles, right? It'll suggest you roles, you find your niche. That's the first thing. First step of the framework is finding niche. And the second step is building a resume for that niche. Like put all the relevant experiences. Have a one-page resume if you are less than 5 years of experience, relevant work experience. But if you're more than 5 years, you can cross that one page. But I would strictly stick on to one page, because only recruiters only spend 6 seconds on looking at your resume. So it's easier to put it all concise in a very proper format. And then once you're done with your resume, then you go to LinkedIn, right? You optimize your tagline, you optimize your cover pic, you write a good about section, you have a good DP, and you have some endorsements and recommendations and all that stuff. And then you start connecting with like 5 to 10 people every day with a solid message, and you start commenting on posts, giving valuable thoughts, right? And then cover letters and CVs are old methods of validation. The new method is going to be your LinkedIn content, right? So you'll start posting content that will showcase you as a thought leader in your space. It's like, I know what I'm talking about, I can do this job, right? And then you build a portfolio, and once you build a portfolio, now you start applying to jobs. Now you built your profile, now you start applying to jobs, not online, but you use tools like Apollo, Hunter, find out the recruiting manager emails, and you send a cold email to them, a very short, crisp cold email, asking them to come on a call with you. And getting a job is two steps. Once getting the interview, second is cracking the interview, right? So when you do all this, when you cold email, when you network, when you reach out to people, and as soon as you apply, even when you apply online, reach out to people on LinkedIn. who are inside the company and tell them that you've applied. That increases your chances of interviews, right? So when you do this, you get interviews. And when you get interviews, all you need to do is a value proposition document, a document that explains three questions. How do you add value to the company? How does the company add value to you? And how do you fit in with the culture of the company? When you do these things, when you keep doing this constantly, you make yourself hard to ignore, right? And that's the best shot you've got, right? That's the framework.
That's really great. How did you manage your studies and applying for jobs? How did you manage in that period?
If I'm being very honest with you, Pawan, I never studied. I just tried to pass, right? If I'm being very, very, very brutally honest, I just tried to pass papers. I just wanted to get that PSW and extend that 2 years. That's it. I always knew I'll get a job, and I was only trying for a job. So for me, it was just juggling my part-time job and full-time job applications. That was the hard part for me, right? Studies never came in the way, to be honest. And I somehow passed papers. We were in the COVID batch, and we just had online tests.
Yeah.
So I was able to pass through the
Same
papers.
here.
And I was pretty happy with that, right? I didn't. My main struggle was job search. So yeah, I went through like so much hardships for getting that job. I applied easily more than 1,500 companies, and out of which I got like 12 interviews, and out of which 3-4 companies I got rejected in the last round. I had one offer. That offer changed my life.
Most of the students like me, we want to get a job. Not about focusing upon what are you going to provide value to it. You respond to job and a high salary package, of course, the sponsorship. Can you tell me about value proposition?
Yeah.
Can you just walk me through?
So basically, what happens in general is like when you get into an interview and when you just answer their questions, or when you just do as they say, you just being another candidate, right? You are being very reactive to them. But let's say like you're getting into the interview, and if you're like, hey, this is where the company is, this is where I come in, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to take you, that is you being proactive. So let's say you go inside the company. For example, I did this value proposition document which worked for a company wherein like this is after my first job, right? So I did that, and so what happened, I applied for a sales role, and they had two main problems. One was outbound lead generation, and two was retention, right? So I noted down those two problems, and I gave them like what I am going to do of these two problems, how I am going to solve these two problems for the company and help them make money, and how do I fit in with the JD, right? Immediately got a call with the CEO. It's a startup with 15 people. The second round, I got a call with the CEO directly through that BPD. When you are going in with a document which explains how do you add value to the company, how does the company add value to you again, and how do you fit in with the culture of the company, you are being like you are making sure that you are the candidate for the role, right? It's like being super proactive. And if your value proposition is really good enough, any recruiter would want to give you a chance. And at the end of the day, even they want to give you a chance. It's just that you need to be better, right? If you know what I mean. Right? You need to build yourself. You need to like make it hard for them to say no to you. They can still say no, and you got to be okay with that. But your job is to make it hard for them to do that. And when you keep doing that constantly, you get that yes eventually.
Yes, that's great. Currently in UK market, especially for international students who move abroad, it's really hard to find jobs, especially right now.
True.
Adding value is just you're just showing them this is the homework that I've done earlier.
Yes.
Exactly. So there's a problem that you're facing, and when you walk into the interview, there might be chances that you're going to select more because you've already done a homework. And tell me about what are your funny stories in being an international student?
I think like the first time realizing the electricity bill, that was like mad. Like we got mad after the first time that we knew like, okay, we shouldn't keep it on all the time, and we should always like constantly turn it on and off. Back in Scotland, I used to like stay in a separate flat, right? So we had to do everything from scratch, like set up the gas, set up the electricity and all that stuff. So that was one. And so, funny story, I think, like when my ex boss, Laundus, I used to work in Laundus. I told I got fired from Laundus, right? So when he fired me from the job, he told me one thing. It's a funny quote, like I'd like to share it here, which is like, there are three W's which are never constant when you're abroad.
Yeah.
Okay. There are three W's are never constant. The three W's are, the first is weather. Weather is never constant. Second is work. Work is never constant. And third is women. Women are never constant. So
Yes.
three W's never constant. That's a funny learning. But it's true though. You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
And other than that, like my life was more on a grind, bro, right? Like I didn't chill much in my first year, but at the end of my first year, I went on a complete UK trip from north to south. That was like one good experience. Met a lot of people, and yeah, like other than that, like funny stories, not much really. More of grinding stories.
Yes. I had a roommate. He's elder than me. He's already been 5 years here. So he also told me like initial days. So these are the three W's you have to keep on mind. That's one of the funny story. So okay, let's go to rapid fire. After coming to UK, so what was your first habit you picked up?
I think the first habit is walking long and walking alone, right? I feel in general, international student life is just a long, lonely walk, and which teaches you a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's one thing every international student will definitely learn?
I think they learn to be resilient. I think they learn to handle their shit on their own. And if you're asking me in one word, I think they learn life.
Yeah. And I would like to add one more point. You learn cooking.
Yeah, I didn't, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't say that, but yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite location in UK that you recommend people to visit?
Yeah, so I think I studied in Aberdeen. It's complete North Scotland, and I would recommend everyone to visit Aberdeen once. It's very beautiful, green, and all that stuff. But specifically, there's a thing called Donator Castle. It's like 45 minutes to 1 hour away from Aberdeen. It's like mountains and beaches put together kind of location, right? Like you'll have a mountain in front of a mountain, there's a beach. It's like beautiful. Like everyone should visit Donator Castle once, guys.
I would like to end up with one question like,
Yeah.
so if you go back 2 years back, what piece of advice would you tell him when you first landed in UK to that person?
I would tell him like his plan was right, just keep going, right? Just as he planned it. Yeah.
Thank you, Sharath, for joining me here. And first of all, an insightful conversation because you walked through about niche, building profile,
Hmm.
and adding a value. So those are the three key points that I will take from this interview.
Sure thing.
Thank you for joining here. And yes, guys, that's the end of the video. So if you like and subscribe and comment down what have you learned from this video. Bye.